it's time again.
In the world of football, there's a rhythm. A sacred 90-minute spell where fans pour their hearts out.
And it's time again for Arsenal versus Manchester United, for some still the...
You'll see them gather in clubs and local joints, drink in hand, sometimes soda, sometimes beer, pacing each sip with the ticking clock of the match. The drink isn't the main focus, the game is.
Drive at Walker and set it back for Calafiori! Oh, it's a beauty! What a strike! What a moment!
But what if I told you someone borrowed that rhythm? Not for fun, not for football, but for murder. What if I told you that just like those fans sipping through 90 minutes, two men once sat quietly at a restaurant table in Nairobi pretending to eat, not because they were hungry, but because they were hunting. And their target was a sitting member of parliament. This is the story of how Charles Ong'ondo, MP for Kasipul, was murdered in a plot so calculated, so precise. It leaves behind a trail of questions that Kenya is yet to answer. Late Wednesday afternoon, Nairobi's Kimathi Street. A normal restaurant, a busy day, but among the crowd, two men sat watching. Not the news, not football. They were watching time.
Mr. Speaker, as in line with your communication.
Because inside Parliament, Speaker Moses Wetangula was presiding over the hotly contested 2025 finance bill, and they knew wind as soon as he uttered those final familiar words.
Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Of those of the contrary opinion say nay, and the ayes have it. Charles would be leaving the chamber. Moments later, CCTV cameras captured those same two men walking out of the hotel as the House adjourned. Now this is where you, the viewer, must think carefully. The Parliament parking is a restricted, secure zone, hidden from public view. No stranger on the outside can see who sits where in a member's car. It's shielded. But here's what happened. Charles Ware stepped into his vehicle, accompanied by his driver and bodyguard. Defying standard protocol, the MP chose to sit in the front seat, an unusual move. His bodyguard took the back seat. And yet, when the assassin finally struck, he knew exactly where Charles Ware was sitting, as though he had watched him board, as though he had been tipped off from the inside. The convoy left Parliament, driving through City Hall Way, then Wabera Street. At this point, CCTV caught a shadow trailing the MP's car. His bodyguard had briefly stepped out to deposit cash 20,000 into the MP's M-Pesa account. But what no one noticed was Omar Shakur, lurking. Soon, a second suspect joined him. Together, they began stalking the MP's vehicle, from Wabera Street, down Kenyatta Avenue, onto Valley Road, all the way toward Daystar University. And there, near the Kenyatta National Hospital roundabout, the gunshots rang out. 5 bullets, fired with deadly precision. Charles Ware died instantly. The narration becomes heavier. But here's the haunting part. The shooter, Omar Shakur, approached the car from the left. He knew his target was sitting in the front left seat. That wasn't luck. That wasn't guesswork. That was information. And then, a chilling silence from the back seat. The bodyguard, trained, armed, experienced, did not fire back. Not a single shot. Not even an attempt at cover or retaliation. He just sat there, watching the bullets fly. Now, I ask you, does that make sense? Let's put this in perspective. To be entrusted with the life of an elected member of Parliament, a bodyguard must be highly trained, quick to detect threats, ready to shield, respond, neutralize. They're not ceremonial, they're tactical. And yet, when the time came to act, nothing. Was he compromised? Frozen? Or Was there something deeper at play? After the shots, Omar Shakur vanished. He was whisked away on a motorbike, disappearing into the chaotic pulse of Nairobi's central business district. But Nairobi is no longer a city where shadows hide for long. The killers didn't know. The game had changed. The roundabout near Daystar. Its cameras were offline that night. But farther down, the government's network of CCTV cameras, equipped with facial recognition and motion tracking, were fully operational. As the motorbike sped through the SHA building junction at Ragati Road and Haile Selassie Avenue, cameras locked on. What these men didn't know is that in Kenya today, the cameras you see casually sitting atop traffic poles aren't just passive observers. They're eyes, intelligent eyes. This is what those who killed Charles were never anticipated. They thought they could disappear, but their digital footprints were already screaming. After the hit, they didn't waste a single second. They escaped quickly, weaving through the streets of Nairobi, heading toward Haile Selassie Avenue, passing the expressway roundabout. At that very junction, a white car was already waiting. It wasn't just any car. It picked only Omar Shakur, leaving behind his motorbike and his trail. It was a clean switch. The white car accelerated sharply into Haile Selassie Avenue and disappeared into the busy Nairobi traffic. But what these criminals didn't realize was that Big Brother was watching. The white car was captured again, this time along Moi Avenue once more as it passed Zuri Restaurant, and again by the Naiva's cameras. It didn't stop there. Further up, another camera by the Jubilee Party building along Thika Road got a clean frame of the vehicle. Finally, the last known capture of that vehicle was recorded at Safari Park Hotel, right near TRM Mall. But that wasn't the end. Facial recognition technology, now widely deployed across Kenya's urban centres, began connecting the dots. Frame by frame, minute by minute, Omar Shakur's movements were mapped. Through AI-powered analysis, he was flagged as a regular evening visitor to one of the popular clubs in Roysambu. That was enough to lay the trap. On Sunday evening, undercover DCI officers staged themselves across the club in Roysambu. Some posed as customers. Others sat quietly in cars outside. No radios, no noise. Just waiting. At exactly 3:45 p.m., their target walked in. Omar Shakur entered the club wearing a cap, confident, and ready to watch Manchester United versus Brentford. He ordered a drink, sat down, and before he could even take the first sip, DCI moved in. Silent, swift, surgical. They didn't just stop at him. Under interrogation, he led DCI to Dandora, Eastlands, deep inside Nairobi's underground web. There, the net widened. Douglas Muchiri Wambugu and David Mihigo Kagame were picked up. Then they led detectives to the doorstep of Ali Juma Hikal, a serving AP police officer. Yes, you heard that right. A man in uniform, a man entrusted with law and order. In his house, police found a firearm and a significant amount of cash. Let that sink in. The investigations then took a darker turn. These names weren't just part of a criminal ring, they were allegedly linked to the Mujahideen extremist network. What started as a political assassination was now uncovering a possible nexus between organized crime and radical extremism. But hold on, it doesn't stop there. Let's fast forward to May 7th. 2 more arrests would be made. But these would happen not through surveillance, not through facial recognition, but through pure human blunder. You see, Omar Shakur was arrested on May 4th, 2025. But someone, thinking they were being smart, decided to access his Facebook account. That someone was Edwin Oduor Odhiambo, also known as Abdul Rashid. At exactly 2:00 a.m. on May 7th, Edwin made a post on Omar Shakur's Facebook account. Yes, you heard that right. He used the Facebook account of a man already in police custody, thinking no one was watching. But that one click was all DCI needed. They locked onto him like a hawk, spotting a snake in the grass. By sunrise, Edwin Odur Odhiambo was smoked out of his hideout, together with Dennis Sewe Munyasi. Now here's what was found inside Edwin's house: 2 loaded pistols, a Ray Falcon and a Sarsilmaz, 9 rounds of 9mm ammunition, more digital evidence linking him to the wider syndicate. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are looking at here is not just a crime, this is a network, a web. Carefully planned, deeply resourced, but ultimately exposed by one thing: technology, cameras, data, AI, mistakes. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive investigative piece into the shocking murder of Caspal Member of Parliament, Charles Ong'ondo, a story of betrayal, of power, of shadows that walk among us. If you found this video informative, do us a favor, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. And, most importantly, turn on the notification bell so that the moment we drop the next episode, YouTube alerts you immediately. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and stay informed. Goodbye for now.